Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 25th. The year is 2023. So I woke up this morning and I was reading the news in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and there's an article that pops up about Atlanta, the Black Mecca. I said, oh, here we go again. And this is an opinion piece in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and it just asks the question, Black Mecca, that Atlanta is a Black Mecca, more a work in progress than a promised land. And it tells the story of how Black Americans who used to live in the South in the early 90s, and moved. The article traced the movement of Black people to the South from the 1990s to present. I moved here in 1989. These were middle-class people driven by economic decisions. Some had jobs. I hope they would find them in a thriving economy. Some wanted affordable housing and to build a kind of generational wealth that might have eluded their parents and grandparents because of redlining and discriminating housing practices. While these Black Americans found large concentrations of Black residents in cities like Atlanta, Charlotte, and Dallas, none of them felt like they were living in a promised land. So what they're saying is that these people who moved, chasing after this dream of this Black Mecca, this Black promised land, they did find other Black people living there, large groups of Black people, in Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, but with no promised land. And then it tells the story of one guy who said, the guy who wrote the article, my parents moved here from the South to Chicago at the end of the Great Migration in the 1960s. About 40 years later, I left Chicago for good. So his families moved to Chicago at the end of the Great Migration in the 1960s. And about 40 years later, he left Chicago for good and moved to Atlanta in 2006. By that time, he had lived in every region of the country. When you look at Black migration patterns, and I'm reading from the article right now, when you look at Black migration patterns over the past 50 years, Atlanta does appear to be a Mecca. From the late 80s to 2010, Georgia led all states in Black migration gains, according to a lot of Black moved into Georgia. Thousands. But despite claims of reverse migration, Pew Center research shows the total percentage of the Black population living in the South has remained within a few percentage points of 55% in each decade from 1970 to 2010. The author writes of the article, when I moved here, I didn't realize I was part of the so-called reverse migration. I didn't think I was searching for a Mecca, but maybe I was. I wanted to be in a place where I could build a career, buy a home, and maybe experience the same upward mobility my parents when they moved north. My parents found when they moved from north back in the 60s, 1960s. In Metro Atlanta, an income between $48,000 and $141,000 qualifies as a middle-class status. But that doesn't factor other things like personal debt, career opportunities, investments, which all have a hand in determining actual wealth. It also doesn't measure social or intellectual capital, which might also help someone to get a foothold in the middle class. Still, if most of Black people migrating to Atlanta are middle class, if Atlanta is the Black Mecca, well, why does the metro area rank highest in the nation for income inequality? All these rich folks and all these poor people, and it ain't adding up. Why is the rate of home ownership for Black residents declining? Because these houses are high as hell. This shit is expensive. Why does Black upward mobility in Atlanta feel more like a treadmill than Atlanta? They don't own nothing. The people who own businesses seem to be doing well. The people working for people, you're right, you're stuck on a treadmill. They don't want you to make no money other than what the little peanuts they toss you every month from your regular 9-to-5 job. What has happened to Atlanta's Black middle class? This is the question raised in the article. By the 2010s, when Black migration to Atlanta began to decline, for good reason, 87% of Black residents in the metro area lived in the suburbs. They all had left the city and moved out into the suburbs, kind of like what I'm doing now, at least for now. The article goes to say there's something about suburbanization that disconnects people from more face-to-face community. Middle-class Blacks who reside in the suburbs may feel a sense of success even if they are one paycheck away from poverty or homelessness, or the lack of an urban core may reduce the traditional sense of community that often comes with prescriptive behaviors. But the same disparities in health, housing, and wealth that plague the city also exist in suburbs. And that's very important to understand, y'all. Because we have all these people moving out to Atlanta in these various counties in Douglas County, Clayton County, Henry County, Henry, I almost said Covington County. I can't think of Covington. It's not a county, it's a city, but I can never think of the name of that county out there. But in these counties, suburban counties, you have the same disparities in health, housing, and wealth that have plagued the inner city. It exists in the suburbs. And the suburbs, which don't have the same resources as large cities to tackle those issues. Now, it's funny because Gwinnett County is starting to see this. Gwinnett County is starting to notice that they have a lot of poverty out there that has migrated out that way, or maybe it's generational, who knows. And they're trying to figure out, well, where all these poor folks come from, what are we going to do? Home ownership has traditionally been a primary pathway to a middle-class existence. But home ownership rates in Atlanta are on the decline because the homes are so expensive. And y'all not get married and partnered up and do you do everything on your own. You know, you're the most independent people on planet Earth. Kind of hard for one person to pay for a house. For black residents, the legacy of redlining, low income, and lack of financing made it more difficult for them to achieve the same gains from housing as other residents. Housing is the most valuable asset that Americans own. Now, the article goes on, we can read this message, it goes on and talks about Atlanta and that housing. It's a very interesting article. But, y'all, let's just keep it real. If you move into a city with a large black population, you're going to be in trouble. Because you have so many black folks moving into Atlanta, and this is what I've seen, and over the last few years I had a lot of people who, because of the pandemic, they ran to Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta. Maybe because Atlanta was open. Somebody told me, it's because it's so much fun. I was thinking, you be quitting a good paying job to come to Atlanta? I had a guy I knew about 2-3 years ago who quit a very good paying job to come here to Atlanta to work at the sheriff's department. I was thinking, you leaving that job, and I just don't like it here where I'm at. And we got into the sheriff's department at the jail. I was thinking, okay, does he not know what he's thinking? What is wrong with this man? Because so many black folks flock into certain cities in the United States, whether it's Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Charlotte, the incomes move this way down. Because so many people vying for the same jobs. That can't be hard to understand, can it? I mean, that article really is trying to point out the housing, how people are trying to stay in the middle class, but without the income, if your income's not there, if your income's on the decline, or you're not getting the income if you have children, I mean, y'all know them badass kids are expensive to maintain. I look at all my friends and family members that have children, and I know some of y'all want children, but goddamn, y'all can't afford them. You'd be better off going to buy you an expensive Mercedes than have a child. That payment on that car, 5 years, 6 years, let's just say you push it to 84 months. I'm going to pay this $2,000 a month payment on this Mercedes I got outside. That's a nice S-Class, for those of you who don't know. You ain't got to go get your E-Class about half the price. Well, it used to be half the price. I don't know what the shit costs now with the Mercedes I did. That much that E-Class, that shit about a high deal too. So let's take them 84 months that you paying for that expensive car. 84 months, what is that? 84 months divided by 12. Well, that's only 7 years. And yet, a car is cheaper, $2,000 a month. You might have to get some tires every now and then, an oil change, a new engine. You know, who knows? But these children, that's an 18-year investment that you never gonna get rid of. Go out. I know people got 5, 6, 7 children. I said, Lord have mercy. Unless your name is Joe Jackson, and you got a little Michael Jackson in your little in your little harem of children, or the pack of kids that you done created, y'all shouldn't be having no kids. Unless your name is Joe Jackson, or you got Tiger Woods, you like a Tiger Woods, dad have to get his name, or Serena when somebody got them kids up every morning with basketball, tennis rackets, singing, dancing, playing. I'll make some money off their asses. The purpose of having children to feed, and we talk about homosexuals. They're the worst type of homosexuals. They there for 18 years and you get rid of them. Can't just go set them at the curb and say, oh, get out. No, they're your children. Eating up all your food. Eating up all your income. I hear people say they want to have children. I just shake my head. Cause it's so crazy because everybody I know who's having these kids cannot afford them. I have a gay friend of mine who has struggled since he been here in Atlanta. Struggle. I had a baby. I said, you had a baby? I was so thrown. I was confused by this. What? Explain this to me. Oh, well, me and this girl, we have been friends for years, and we finally was working on it. I got a child now. This nigga barely surviving. And then sometimes you call me, so I can't go to work today because I'm watching the child. I'm thinking, you missing days at work? But she had to go to work. Okay, so she at work, you at home. And then, sometimes she take off work because they can't something's going on with this child that they can't put this baby into child care, or they don't have a grandmother, brother, sister, cousin, neighbor to watch this baby. We little kids, that's who watched us. Grandmother, sister, neighbor, cousin. We went in no child care with 7 hours. Well, my parents can afford that shit. Listen, I don't know what's going on with this child care mess. I don't think that existed back then. Well, my mother did babysit some children. I take that back. When we were little kids, my mother would bring in some kids into the house, and she babysit these other kids, badass kids. Particularly when they got out of school, they would come over to our house, and we had to deal with it. We had a big ass house, we in the basement playing all these monster-ass children back then. So I said, I don't want no children. I learned how to, So I guess child care did exist then. We didn't need it because my mother and father was there. My grandmother was lived up the street. I had uncles, aunts, cousins. Our cousin was the meanest on earth. Helen, boy, she was something else. When Helen had to come watch our asses, child, you was going to get your ass tore up. Like toe up. Worse than your parents tearing you up. Helen come to that house and she would have a little suitcase and she said, I'm going to be here for the next day. A couple days later, child, we ran in here. Oh, Helen here. I'm sure you all went through the same bullshit I went through in them 70s and I could write a sitcom. Shit and badass habit. Atlanta is not no black Mecca, y'all. Are there some opportunities here? I think so. The thing that saddens me about Atlanta, pisses me off, the wealth inequality. You got one side of town, everybody living in multi-million-dollar houses that go for miles. Miles. You can drive over to North Atlanta and literally for miles, damn near to Tennessee, you're looking at all these expensive houses. I'm like, oh, Lord, who living in these houses? Who paying? What is this? And then you come on the other side of town, all you see is a bunch of popos for miles. Damn near to the Florida, the Florida state line. It gets a little bit better somewhere in Fayette County, all those places. There's a lot of poverty on the other side of the city. It's like a divide, like a visible brick wall. All these rich folks over here, white folks, and all these poor folks over here, black folks. We just tell the truth. Then the people say, oh, there's some black folks everywhere. I have a friend of mine, a black guy, who just bought a $2.1 million house. They exist. I've known this man for years. He sold a house that he had lived in for years. He sold it, got a large chunk of money off of it, went and bought him a beautiful home. Now he's trying to furnish it. I said, take your time. What's the rush? You got a $2.1 million contemporary house. You need to find certain stuff to go in there. There should be no rush for furniture in the house. Take your time. My house was more of a traditional home. I could find traditional furniture. When you got a contemporary style house, you got to go to some of the high-end stores. How much is that couch? Did you say $20,000 for this couch? No, you better go your ass to IKEA. Like I know, you might find that same. I told this boy, this is He was looking at furniture. I said, you can find this stuff on the internet. The same furniture that you looking at these high-end stores, take a picture of it and go online and Google, what about the quality? I said, in many cases, it's the same shit. You want this contemporary style furniture, that's contemporary furniture is high as hell. I'm more of a traditional furniture person. I know I can buy this shit any damn way. Have it is Woodstock furniture. I ain't got furniture. I dig it. And a table and chairs. Pretty, nice. $4.99. For those say I take it. I just dining on the table. This chair, everybody loves this table I have here in the sunroom. And these chairs, they came off Amazon. They came in a box from Amazon. These chairs like this, they were on Amazon. They're full leather, grain leather, good leather, sturdy chairs. I paid a couple $100, $500, $400. I can't remember. I know I ordered them on Amazon and they came in a box. It was delivered to my house. But this just, strange story. My friend is about that $2 million. He ain't got no children. Gay man, he ain't got no kids. It's unfortunate, but the people I know, like him, who got children, are struggling because kids are expensive. Like, you get a hell of a lot of money. People come to Atlanta. Some people have transferred in here. I just talked to another buddy of mine. He transferred in here. He hated the job. For years he was trying to get here. He transferred in there. He said, well, actually, a couple of my friends have transferred in here. And they hate it. They get there and they meet all the niggas in there. And they say, okay, it wasn't like this when I was up there. Down here, this is ridiculous. The Black Mecca. Everybody in Atlanta, we love Atlanta. Y'all know, like I know. Me personally, if I was looking to be upward mobile and looking for a better job or income or whatever, Atlanta would be on my list. But I look at the whole United States. I wouldn't just be looking at a city based upon the race of the people there. I'm looking to be an all-black city. No, I'm looking to be in a city that's diverse, if possible. But something about the housing is affordable. I know it's impossible to find someplace that's in the middle of Mississippi right now. You can get your mansion in Mississippi for $250,000. Gee, I take it. New construction. I'm just kidding. I don't know what's in Mississippi. I got relatives there. They got beautiful homes there. I do know that. But I don't know what they pay for houses down in Mississippi. And they like living in Mississippi. All their kids have gone to college and educated, and doctors and dentists and lawyers and all kinds of good stuff. But then you got these heathens sitting here in Atlanta. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You want to raise children here? Seriously. Very serious subject. Do y'all know what it's like raising children in an environment like Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, New York, D.C., these urban areas? I don't think it's a good thing. Myself, I had children, I had to move out to the country. I had to get them out these urban environments because it just ain't healthy. And especially if I want my children to live without getting shot outside a skating rink. I had to get my children safely, but I ain't got no children. I just got them 2 dogs. I wonder where they at. They locked them in cages on the other side over there in the deck. I'm tired of their asses. They came in here this morning terrorizing me. I'm trying to drink my coffee. They're running around. And I don't know how this happened. I bought a box of cereal. This is about these dogs that can get. I bought a box of cereal and it was in one of these cabinets over here. And I don't know, maybe Earl left the house and left the cabinet open or something. But I heard this crunching, like, crunching. And I'm like, what is that noise? And so I got up and I drank my coffee and walked over. Them mutts got hold of that cereal box and ripped it open. It was cereal everywhere. They just devouring my expensive box of cereal. They got it somehow. Maybe they opened up the cabinet. I don't know. That's sometimes I'm tired of these dogs. That's what I'm telling you. It's like a chaos. It's chaos over here. I had to chase their asses around. I said, okay. That's what they in them cages. They ate my damn cereal. I just bought that damn cereal. I'm like, how the hell did they get hold of this damn cereal? They were tearing that mess up, man. It was a huge mess I had to clean up. But I guess if you have dogs or children do the same damn thing. I see little kids get hold of the cereal. Oh, we're going to eat it. And these dogs, they didn't rip the box open. I'm like, what in the hell? I got all that. I'm like, what is that noise? They were having breakfast. My breakfast. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to post a link to that article about this so-called Black Mecca. It's in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I want y'all to read it. It's a long article. And the article concludes with that black people have spent 100 years searching for a black Mecca. Says something about how just elusive it must be to find. Black Americans have operated under the illusion that a single city has the power to overcome pervasive structural inequalities. Leaving these problems unaddressed means they will never, ever, ever be a true black Mecca in America. Move to Africa. That's my next step. But I want y'all to read the article. I know some people live in this fantasy world about Atlanta, and that's what led me to YouTube, because many years ago, because I was tired of people saying Atlanta's this, Atlanta's that. I'm thinking, where is this information? Over a decade, I've been saying, y'all, hold up now, wait a minute. Take them U-Haul somewhere else. And people still come here to suffer. Not all. Some people do well. But listen, y'all, I know a lot of people suffering here. I'm not going to lie about it, because I talk to people all the time, and I say, ugh. And then they leave. The ones who wake up and say, I can't do this, they leave. I speak to them 6 months later and say, Walter, it was the best decision I ever made. I'm making so much more money. My cost of living has gone down. My cars are not getting broken into. I'm having this. It's like, why was I stuck there all those years? They say, I'm doing so much better in the various places they go to. And some of them still visit Atlanta, and then after a while, they stop visiting. They find other things to do. Y'all do know it's more than life than sitting in hookah bars and expensive restaurants and nightclubs in the VIP section, paying $400 for a bottle of cheap vodka. I've never understood this whole clubbing thing and the clubs and the hookah bars. I never understand all this shit. Because I'm not going into no club to get bottle service. Give me one drink. And that's it. You want the bottle? No, I don't need that bottle. I got bottles at the house. I don't need that for what y'all asking. I can get a whole case of liquor for that. Why would I pay that type of money? Them niggas sit in the club and beat bottles. We got bottles. We popping bottles. They bringing out sparklers all over the shit. Y'all don't know what y'all paying for that shit. It's right down the street for $50. Y'all paying $100 to sit in this club just to sit. Does make it make sense? It don't make sense. Knocking the club's hustle, but this is ridiculous. And then they got rid of all the dance floors in these clubs to create these VIP booths. You can't even move around. Everybody can be in VIP. What the fuck is this? Everybody in VIP section throwing bottles at each other, fighting and throwing chairs. Okay, what is this all about? Let me get the fuck up out of here. It don't make sense. But y'all want to come to Atlanta. We love Atlanta. You know, like I know you better go somewhere else. And that article is a very good article. I read it. I believe it. I trust it. Y'all just got to make better decisions about places that you want to go to and things you want to do. Atlanta at the top of the list. Why? You know, why? It's like, when this is an Atlanta Journal-Constitution, this is an article, it's an opinion piece. This another thing they said that caught my eye. In the future, we may want to expand our understanding of what a black Mecca is. Maynard Jackson and Andrew Young, two of Atlanta's first black mayors, helped it gain traction in meaningful ways. Atlanta, black city, moving forward. But Atlanta has been struggling since then. Atlanta is an ever-changing city, but it is still not who it is going to be. It's going to take years, Well, enough of this thing about Atlanta, because some of y'all got to come see on your own, figure that shit out on your own. I don't know why. Some people do well, some people don't do well. I don't think this is a place to raise children. I don't think any urban city in this environment, in today, is a good place to raise children. I just don't think I would do it. However, all my thoughts and my opinions, I'm going to post a link to the article. I want y'all to read and tell me what you think about it. Today is Wednesday, January 25th. The year is 2023. And I'm out of here, and I look forward to reading you all thoughts and opinions about what I just talked about. I'm supposed to link to. I'm out.